The Illuminati will see you now.
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness finally introduced us to an MCU adaptation of one of Marvel's most powerful groups, the Illuminati. This team is composed of the smartest and strongest heroes from across the Marvel Universe, and while Earth 838's incarnation may have been dispatched fairly quickly, there's still plenty of heroes that could form a proper version in the main MCU. We've got lots of potential candidates here, like Professor Hulk, Jane Foster, and more, so let's dive into which Marvel heroes could join the Illuminati in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. After his first-hand encounter with the Illuminati during his trip through the multiverse, there's almost no one better than Stephen Strange to form the team on our Earth. He's one of the most powerful characters in the MCU, and with the status of the Avengers up in the air as of now, the Earth is gonna need a team to defend it. Having seen how powerful the members of Earth 838's Illuminati were, it seems like it would be in Doctor Strange's best interests to track down their variants on our Earth and have them all join forces. Strange was also a founding member of the team in the comics, and he'd be a solid figure to ground everyone's big personalities and keep them focused on protecting the multiverse. On the other hand, the ending of Multiverse of Madness does make Strange's membership in our Illuminati a bit questionable, considering the fact that he's now got an evil third eye and is seemingly possessed by dark magic. That problem is the very same reason why Earth 838's Illuminati could no longer trust their Doctor Strange, so he's gonna need to figure out that whole thing, probably with Clea's help, before I'd feel fully confident in him leading this super smart team. Multiverse of Madness's use of the Illuminati allowed for several fun cameos, but the one that seemed to get people most excited was the introduction of John Krasinski as Earth 838's Reed Richards. While he did get spaghettified pretty quickly by Wanda, this was Mr. Fantastic's first ever appearance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which means that the Fantastic Four hype train is well on its way out of the station. I personally don't believe that John Krasinski will end up returning as the MCU's main Reed, but I think that there is a good chance that whoever gets the part will end up following in Krasinski's footsteps and joining the Illuminati. In the comics, it's frequently been claimed that Reed is the smartest man alive, and with Tony Stark gone, he just may hold that title now in the MCU. Of course, that's someone that Strange and the Illuminati would want on their side, especially if he ends up buying Avengers Tower, like so many fan theories have posited. Once converted to the Baxter Building, the tower could serve as the Illuminati's base of operations, and Reed could be the creator of all their gadgets and
those wonderful toys.
Namor the Submariner is one of the most powerful characters in all of Marvel Comics, yet he hasn't made a single appearance in the MCU. The reasoning for this, of course, comes down to those pesky rights issues with Fox. But now that that's not a problem anymore, fans should get ready to see the ruler of Atlantis make his presence known very soon. Granted, no one knows where Namor is going to be introduced for sure, but the prevailing theory is that he'll make his debut in Black Panther 2, and go on from there to be a major player. The idea of Namor being introduced in Black Panther 2 seems appropriate, since he too is the ruler of a hidden yet incredibly advanced civilization. However, Namor and the Atlanteans are far more ruthless than the Wakandans, so the Illuminati would for sure want to get him on their side if they want to be able to keep the peace. Namor was another founding member of the group in the comics, but he always served as more of an anti-hero, even having previously joined up with the group's villainous counterpart, the Cabal. Namor really has no reason to trust anyone but himself and his people, and this dynamic would prevent the other members of the MCU's Illuminati from getting too comfortable and complacent. At the very least, Mr. Steal Your Girl over here could help to keep Reed Richards on his toes. In addition to Namor, Black Panther 2 will supposedly introduce us to another potential Illuminati member, Riri Williams, aka Ironheart. She's a newer addition to the Marvel canon, having only debuted in 2016, but she's already made quite a large impact in the time since then. Despite the fact that she's only a teenager, Riri is a genius, having built her very own Iron Man suit in her school's lab.
With a box of scraps!
She's basically become Tony Stark's successor in the comics, bringing a youthful energy to her superheroics as opposed to Stark's jaded sarcasm. Riri's been confirmed to appear in her own Disney Plus series after debuting in Black Panther 2, but at the moment we don't really know much about either of those projects. But it's safe to say that someone of her intellect would be an ideal fit for the Illuminati, and she would bring a great younger perspective to counter the massive egos of her teammates. The legacy of Tony Stark is a lot to live up to, but if anyone can do it, it's Ironheart. You won't like him when he's incredibly smart and well-mannered. Yeah, the Hulk's certainly gone on a journey throughout his time in the MCU, hasn't he? Gone is the giant unstoppable rage monster we used to know, and in his place is a big green dad who dabs. Marvel Studios have taken the Hulk in an unusual direction, choosing to emphasize his brains over his brawn as of late, and if they continue on this path, then he would be a great recruit for the Illuminati. Not only is Banner a total genius, but his newfound control over his Hulk form has allowed him to pull off some pretty amazing stunts, including wielding the new Infinity Gauntlet to reverse the snap. The fact of the matter is that he's the only living person to have successfully used the Infinity Stones, and this alone makes him one of Earth's most powerful heroes. The post-credit scene of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings showed us Bruce, Captain Marvel, and Wong striking up an alliance with Shang-Chi, and it wouldn't surprise me if this little group ends up serving as a precursor to the MCU's true Illuminati. The madness of the multiverse seems to be Marvel Studios' current preferred storytelling device, but none of it would have been possible without Sylvie. Introduced in the Loki Disney Plus series as a variant of the trickster god, Sylvie quickly proved herself to be as untrustworthy as you'd expect, while still hiding a good heart deep, deep, deep down. Unfortunately, her desire for vengeance overtook her, and in the season 1 finale she killed He Who Remains, the only person keeping the multiverse from being unleashed.
That's what the kids call epic fail.
So yeah, Sylvie made a big mistake by choosing vengeance, but joining the Illuminati could be a good way for her to begin to make amends. As a result of meeting He Who Remains and having him explain the multiverse to her, Sylvie understands more about how it works than almost anyone, and this knowledge would be incredibly important for the Illuminati to properly combat incursions and other multiversal calamities. We've had plenty of adventures with Tom Hiddleston's Loki, and we all know and love him, but it would be fun to send Sylvie on some more wild adventures around the MCU with some of its biggest names, while he gets things figured out with the TVA. Patrick Stewart's Charles Xavier served as an important member of Earth-838's Illuminati, and our little version of the group that we're building here should also definitely have a mutant representative. However, instead of Professor X, I'm gonna say that Beast, aka Hank McCoy, should fill in that role. In the comic book source material, as well as previous X-Men movies, Hank has frequently served as a mutant activist who represents his people's causes in normal society, so it would make sense to have him represent them in the ranks of the Illuminati as well. Unlike a lot of the team's other members, Beast isn't concerned with proving himself to be some sort of great genius. He's secure in his brilliance and chooses to use it to help out his fellow mutants. This level-headedness would make him a great anchor for the rest of the Illuminati, as well as mutants in general, and his status as one of the supergroup's smartest members would allow them to work towards the betterment of mutant kind. WandaVision introduced us to SWORD, the Marvel Cinematic Universe's new resident shady spy organization. As part of their plan to take down Wanda Maximoff and get rid of her hex over Westview, the agency took the body of the deceased Avenger Vision and rebuilt him as the White Vision, an incredibly powerful synthezoid with none of the memories or emotions of his former self. Luckily, the android's memories were restored before he was able to seriously hurt Wanda, Billy, or Tommy, and he flew off to, I don't know, do something. Maybe get a paint job? Now there's two main reasons why it would be in the Illuminati's best interest to recruit White Vision. First off, he's still got the base programming and consciousness of Jarvis, an incredibly intelligent and resourceful AI who was indispensable to Tony Stark while he operated as Iron Man. Secondly, and more importantly, Vision is basically Scarlet Witch's kryptonite. If she returns to the MCU in the future with that same nasty attitude she had in Multiverse of Madness, White Vision could serve as the Illuminati's secret weapon to keep her at bay. When he returns to the big screen later this year in Thor: Love and Thunder, everyone's favorite Norse god will be in for quite a surprise when he discovers that his ex-girlfriend, Jane Foster, has taken up his mantle. The last time we saw Jane in the MCU was 2013's Thor: The Dark World, and obviously a lot's changed since then for her to have become the new
Lord of Thunder.
God of Thunder.
While he's a great character, Chris Hemsworth's Thor isn't exactly the brightest bulb, and Taika Waititi has basically made him into a space frat bro, which is great, way more interesting than all the faux Shakespeare stuff from the first two movies. But as a result, I really can't see him fitting into a team of brainiacs like the Illuminati. On the other hand, Jane Foster's previous appearances established her as one of the world's foremost astrophysicists, and her previous experience with portals and the Bifrost could help the Illuminati understand multiversal travel. Jane's gradual evolution from relatively bland love interest to outright superhero has been really fun to watch, and it's exciting to think about where she could go next with the Illuminati's help. Our last entry here is probably the least realistic one out of them all, and it's really just here because I think it's fun. It's Big Wheel, No, I'm just kidding. It's actually the superior Iron Man, a variant of Tony Stark who became a little bit too power hungry and ended up taking over his world. Before the release of Multiverse of Madness, it was widely rumored that Tom Cruise would appear as this Tony Stark variant, as a reference to the fact that he was actually in talks to play Iron Man way back in 2008. Obviously, superior Iron Man never ended up appearing, but with the multiverse still serving as a looming threat, he could show up at any time in the future. Tony Stark was the single most important character of the MCU up until Endgame, so I could see the Illuminati wanting to recruit a variant of him, only to realize that they may have gotten a bit more than they bargained for when they meet this new, treacherous version of him. The only thing is, they may have to wait a few years until Tom Cruise is all done with the Mission Impossible movies. Or, as I like to call them, the movies where Tom Cruise does scary, life-threatening things to himself for our entertainment. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. I'm Matt Sonnack, I made this video, and now I'd like to hear which Marvel heroes you think should join the Illuminati. Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. See you next time!